that stuff.
Hi, I'm Karen Heaster originally, and I'm Karen Kelly now, and I grew up in Bankstown here in Mapleton. The earliest memories are actually the neighbors on our street. Everybody did everything for each other, and if we made something to eat or an extra loaf of bread, we'd take it to a neighbor, or and when you walked down the street, you spoke to everybody. We knew everybody by their names, and you didn't go clear downtown unless you talked to everybody that was sitting on their porches in the summertime. So everybody was real friendly, and everybody knew everybody. I remember the bank that was in the hotel, and the grocery store, Weibel store. You could go in there, buy all your groceries on a slip and pay for them on payday. And my father had a gas station way back, started in the 60s. He had it for 25 years. And I remember the gas rationing when you had to go by the license plate, by who could get gas on an odd number or an even number. But we basically gave it to anybody that was there. And
Talk about that a little bit. Since he was one of the business owners in town at one time, what got him into that business?
well, actually, my father worked at the sand plant all his life, and and we run the gas station. Dad would be at work at the sand plant, come home, and go back down to the gas station, close in the evening, and we all took our turns basically working there. And he had a couple employees from town here that worked there for us. And my uncle, he had a hardware store. Uncle Brownie Heaster, owned the hardware store. And I remember a Clover Farm store, the Mapleton Bank then that was here in town. Gilbert's store, I remember going in there. Newt Parker's, everybody hung out at Newt Parker's. I remember the Tutti Fruttis, there were grape and there was orange, and my father would give us a dime. I'd get down and get a nickel Coke and a nickel bag of Middlesworth chips. If you had a dime, you could get 20 Tootsie Rolls. They were 2 for a penny, and you get a bag full of them for a dime. So that was basically the hangout. Everybody would hang out in front of Newt Parker's store.
Yeah. What do you remember as far as the pool? You were from Bankstown, and I know some people told me they were from Bankstown. Some came into town. Others said that, well, they hung around there more, even though it was close to Mapleton, just depending on their age. As they got older, they came into town more. Younger, they didn't as much. So in your case, how was that?
In the summertime, I was at the pool every day. And
I remember that.
we had our last centennial. I was in a water ballet up there.
Okay.
And some of my friends were in it too. And that was what, 1966?
Mm-hmm.
I would have been like 13 years old. And
Yeah.
I remember the water ballet. But it was a hangout for the summer, and it was always packed.
Mm-hmm.
We had a high tower that we could dive off of then, but we don't have that anymore. Too many people got hurt.
Yeah, insurance. We'd push people off at the tower at times. I should apologize. There's probably a couple of times I pushed you and Dorothy, Laren, and Peggy and into the water. Just guys do that.
Let's see. I just remember how my dad would always, if there was kids in the car, he would always give kids extra treats. He would give them, if it was hot in the summertime, he'd sneak popsicles out and give to kids. And lots of times he'd put extra bananas in the bags for kids to eat in the car. And then I remember Mike Corbin coming up with a trick. He pulled in the gas station one day, and he had dummies in there sitting. And I went running out because I thought he was going somewhere with somebody that was sick, and they were not real people, and he was on the way out of town, and I thought there was something wrong with someone. But that's just tricks we play on each other.
Well, now, with that in mind, as a kid, now we know you had the Mapleton pool, things like that. And we had television and all those things back then. Some of these people I've talked with, they talk about how they listen to the radio as a family. So we've come a long way since then, actually, for our group. But when you guys hung together, what'd you do to have fun in Mapleton? Beyond the pool, I mean, things like that.
Well, in the wintertime, we had a big field at Bankstown, and we would play games like Fox Track, where fresh snow, we always had fresh snow back then, and we would make tracks, and then you had to chase each other on the tracks, and then you'd catch someone, and then they were the next fox. We also went ice skating. I was an ice skater up at the quarry. About every night we'd go up there, and it would be late at night we'd go home, and you'd stink so bad from the smoke. We'd take old tires up there and have a big bonfire. And sometimes we had weenie roast up there, but we couldn't wait to get home and get those stinky clothes off. And Memorial Day parades.
Okay.
We practiced at the band hall every Thursday nights, and then before the parade time, we'd start marching on the streets to practice. But even today, I'm surprised that it's still the same way as it was back then. That everybody comes home for that day and they walk to the cemetery as a group. That's still a tradition that's always happened.
And fortunately, so far, it's not died away. And I hope it doesn't. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you the same thing I asked Kathy, because you've been involved in some of this with the sesquicentennial coming up. Why? Why do you help that?
Because I've lived here all my life, and it's a part of all of us. And the ones that are still around that can make something happen that other people will remember.
Has it been worth it?
It certainly has been.
Okay.
Yep. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.